Welcome to Capitol Forum, interviews with Washington area business and policy leaders, giving us a glimpse into their lives, their careers, and how they're making a difference in the greater Washington area. I'm your host, Jack Calvertinis, and today's interview continues our series of conversations with senior leaders at the McCormick Group. I'd like to welcome Deborah Page to Bigwig Media Studios here at the historic Willard Hotel. Deborah, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
So excited to have you here today and learning about you, your approach, and some of sort of the key focus areas of the McCormick Group. As VP of Digital and Innovation, Federal and Professional Services, tell me about the scope of your practice and the work that you do for your clients.
Absolutely, Jack. Let me start by talking about the technology sector, which is now called Digital and Innovation based on our new digital transformation that occurred the last few years. It is still the fastest growing sector. It is also ranked the second driving the U.S. economy right now. So the job market is strong. Jobs have quadrupled. The salaries have increased from 30 to 40%. And so our practice have been super busy. The areas that we work within in terms of sectors are financial, professional services, federal government, media, digital technology, energy are some of the sectors that we work within today. Some of the positions that we've worked on and have been very successful, of course, are the C-suite. So it's the CIO, which is the information officer, who sometimes is the innovation officer, who sometimes is the digital officer, depending on the size of the organization, as well as chief growth officers. And we then move down to middle management. And because of the digital modern age that we live in today, we're finding that there is technical contributor roles that companies need help with. And that would be data scientists and digital product roles and more of the software engineering field. So we are quite busy doing a variety of roles in technology and digital.
Well, I appreciate that, Deborah. And my one experience really working with a CIO was when I served at the FDA and saw how absolutely important it was for the whole team that she oversaw and each of the divisions within the FDA. Of course, the FDA has been on everyone's mind during COVID and all that office was doing to empower the reviewers to make sure that products and drugs were being reviewed properly, whether someone was remote or not. Tell us about your federal government work that you've done in the past.
Yes, the federal government area has been very busy with roles such as CIO. Companies are growing, and so a lot of the roles we're also focusing on is growth officers and strategy officers and operations officers. So those are areas that were really trending, and we were working across multiple agencies.
Let's shift to just talking about you and your career. How is it that you ended up working as a senior executive recruiter at a search firm like McCormick?
Jack, I think a lot of people don't know that I was a technical professional in my prior career. I started at a large telecommunications company and immediately was attracted to the technology and operations side. I think it was because there was a lot of action, there was a lot of energy, there was a lot of collaboration. And even though my degree was not in computer science, it was in mass communication, I felt that the critical thinking and problem-solving skills that I had, on top of really enjoying postmortems and root cause analysis, really allowed me to transition well into that sector. And for 10 years, I was a boots on ground technical individual in our network operations area. And I did that for a while and decided, Based on some of the things we're seeing today, a need for more women in the STEM space, in the engineering space, as well as minorities. And I also saw a need to have someone that could translate the technical to the executive leaderships, so that the individuals that were doing the real work would have what they needed in terms of tools and to get the job done. So I moved into the leadership of the department and took on additional responsibility. My company later was acquired, and I decided to still stay in the space and moved into recruiting. And the McCormick Group allowed me to come in and work in the technology field, which, to be honest with you, Jack, that would be the only sector I would have an interest in. And now I'm able to build and take the technology department to the next level within the McCormick Group.
Nice. Well, what an advantage that you have in this niche that you have, having come from the company you were with, and now you're able to help solve people's problems by finding, the best CIOs and the best, senior leaders to help to manage their digital needs. Let me bring to our viewers' attention quite an honor you received from Washingtonian magazine. And being a Washingtonian, this is my favorite magazine, but you were listed as one of Washington's top tech titans. And when I think about all of the money that is spent by private industry and each of the agencies on technology and digital transformation, what an honor that is that you were chosen for that.
Yeah, I was super excited, humbled, and the recognition was based on the next generation. I think I've come full circle working in this industry over 20 years. It's not just about today's talent. It's about grooming and working on the next generation. And so for me, that's super important to give back. And I was on a board, and that board allowed me to provide awareness, internships, mentoring, scholarships, collaboration, and networking for that next generation. And the big focus, again, was on women, minorities, other gender groups, as well as just overall people to add to the technology sector. So super excited and definitely very humbled.
All right, Deborah, let's dig in for a moment about your recruiting and advisory practice and really any highlights that you want to share within the past year.
Yeah, absolutely, Jack. We've been really busy post-COVID in the last 12 months working with clients who have a hunger to grow their existing capabilities and solutions, as well as diversify in new agencies. We are also busy with succession planning. I think people understood that they needed a number two. They were single-threaded. They needed a backup as a leader and as a developer. The other thing that we worked on was diversity and inclusion. Organizations are focused on diversifying their senior leadership. We've been working with them on that. Transitioning government officials into the private sector is also another area that we've been focused on, as well as transformation, looking at new innovation and technology leaders that can move them forward in the future.
Thank you. And Deborah, you told me when we were speaking last that you really enjoy finding ways to turn a client challenge into an opportunity. So what advice do you offer a client when it comes to tackling their tech challenges?
Absolutely, Jack. One of the things, the big question we start with is, what is the reputation of your technology department today? How do others in your organization see the IT department? Is your leader a partner, or is he or she a operations guru? And also, is your environment set up as a innovation environment, a career path destination? Because you'll need that as you're trying to attract and retain good talent.
Deborah, let's talk for a moment about the surge in technical roles and what firms are doing to really tackle that problem and some of the shifts that you've seen.
Yes, I think the number one thing that companies are working on is upskilling and reskilling individuals in their company, as well as individuals that have a non-computer science degree. And so businesses are really investing in upskilling. That's one. Two, what we're seeing is organizations like Amazon and Google who are providing certifications and boot camps for the cloud or for data analytics so that they can quickly hit the ground running. I also see where large companies are working with universities and community colleges, changing the curriculum for bachelor's degrees as it relates to technology. The other thing that I'm seeing is looking outside of the top 100 engineering computer science colleges. They're starting to look at HBCUs and other types of universities out there that have great technology and cybersecurity programs. And the last thing I'm seeing quite a lot is getting in front of STEM education, right? K through 12. The earlier you can get to young individuals to talk about technology and security, the better we will be, and offering real work experience while you're in college.
That's great. I know that community colleges play a key role, and some companies actually are creating their training programs through their local community college and forming that kind of partnership if they don't have the capability themselves to do it, but sort of outsourcing. Have you seen that as well?
I'm seeing a lot of that. I think there are some great community colleges with great programs. And again, maybe set up more as a boot camp, a 15-week program that they can kind of go through, or it could be a 2 to 3 year program. So absolutely.
Let's end by talking about the all-important CIO and the role of that CIO and your keys to better understanding that role in order to help your clients find the best of the best.
Absolutely. I am truly excited about this piece. The pandemic has shifted and changed the role of the CIO. Finally, right? The role is now more visible than ever. They have a seat at the table. I think majority did prior, but they are now a decision maker. Technology is part of the business strategy. And if we didn't understand that before, we should now, based on what we saw the last 3 years. They are breaking down silos in organizations. They're connectors. They are working with practice leaders and individuals across their entire company. So they are becoming a fast-growing business leader, which is super exciting. And there's many types, right? Traditional, there's operational, there's visionaries, there are transformational CIOs. There are great leaders. It just depends on what you're looking for as a company.
Deborah, to wrap up now, I'm just curious, what are your top recruiting takeaways for the viewers?
If your senior leadership team lacks diversity, Jack, it's time to review your diversity policy and priority in your organization. And there are companies like the McCormick Group who are more than willing to help as we have a reach into those communities and those professional diverse associations. This is also the new norm in terms of the digital ecosystem. And so it is important that we all embrace and get on the digital ecosystem bus moving forward. We can't go back. We've come a long way, and we want to continue to push forward.
Thanks again to Deborah Page, the McCormick Group's true tech titan. And that wraps up another episode of Capital Forum.